You're trading your eyesight for $9 an hour, and the lights in that building are making sure you never realize it. You're 19 years old. You have 5 hours of dead time every single night where nobody is watching. Nobody is grading you. Nobody is telling you what to do. 5 hours. That is the exact amount of time Marcus used to change his entire life. 10 feet away from you, while you were on your phone. It's 1:47 a.m. at a Shell station on Route 9. The store is empty. It's been empty for 40 minutes. The fluorescent lights overhead are humming, that low, persistent drone you've stopped noticing, but your brain hasn't. You've refreshed Reddit 47 times tonight, not because anything new was there, just because the motion of it, the pull, the load, the scroll, has become the only thing that makes the silence feel manageable. Your co-worker Marcus is behind the counter with his laptop open, typing, focused, building something you never asked about because it seemed like a waste of time. You thought you were the realistic one. You thought keeping your expectations low was the same thing as being smart. It wasn't. And by the time you figure that out, Marcus will be gone. The fluorescent lights will still be humming, the Reddit feed will still be loading, and you'll still be here. Here is everything that is happening to you right now that nobody on that feed will ever tell you. You think you feel tired because the job is boring, because the hours are long, because minimum wage doesn't exactly inspire greatness. That's not why you're tired. You are under a biological assault from 2 directions simultaneously, and it's been running every single shift for 6 months. The first attack is the lights above you. The fluorescent tubes running the length of this gas station are powered by conventional ballasts that produce a subliminal flicker at 60 hertz. 60 times per second, the light above your head is pulsing, below the threshold of conscious perception, but not below the threshold of your nervous system. That flicker travels through your optic nerve directly into your central nervous system, triggering heightened arousal, cortisol release, and sustained low-grade stress. Workers exposed to this low-frequency lighting report nearly twice as many headaches compared to those under high-frequency alternatives. The symptoms are brain fog, inability to focus, irritability, eye pain, dizziness, and a persistent, uncomfortable feeling through the chest. You've had all of these. You called it a long shift. It was neurological damage on a schedule. The second attack is the screen in your hand. Your phone is firing blue light at 415 to 455 nanometers, high energy wavelengths that pass directly through the cornea and lens to the retina. Within 5 to 15 minutes of exposure, melatonin secretion is inhibited. For someone scrolling from midnight to 6 a.m., that suppression is not gradual. It is catastrophic. Your brain is receiving the same signal as midday sun. It is refusing to signal rest because biologically, right now at 2 a.m., it does not believe night is happening, and together, these two things compound. Research on combined fluorescent flicker and blue light exposure confirms what your body is already living. Reduced positive affect, impaired problem solving, chronically elevated arousal, and a circadian system so disrupted it cannot tell anymore what time it is, what recovery feels like, or what the difference is between a surviving body and a thriving one. You attributed this to the job. The job is the delivery mechanism. The light is the weapon. Now let's talk about the phone, not the light from it, the content. Every time you refresh Reddit, every time you double tap on TikTok, your ventral tegmental area floods your nucleus accumbens with dopamine, instant, effortless, unearned. The problem with unearned dopamine is what it costs downstream. After an extended doom scroll session, dopamine levels drop 40 to 60% below baseline for 2 to 4 hours. Not back to normal, below normal. Deep into a neurochemical trough where motivation is physiologically impossible. Where the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, reasoning, deciding, building, is running on empty. This is why you can scroll for 5 hours and then stare at a blank screen with every intention of doing something and feel absolutely nothing. Not laziness, not lack of ambition. Dopamine debt. Your brain spent what it had on content that required nothing and now cannot generate the chemistry necessary to start something that requires effort. And it gets structurally worse. With sustained heavy use, your brain begins removing dopamine receptors, downregulation, because the flood has been so consistent that the system adapts by reducing capacity. Studies found significantly lower dopamine synthesis in the bilateral putamen of heavy social media users. The consequence is permanent until you reverse it deliberately. Real activities stop producing reward signals. Learning something new feels flat. Finishing a task feels empty. The satisfaction of building anything is neurochemically invisible compared to the feed. Meanwhile, every night of scrolling is reinforcing a specific neural pathway with the precision of repetition. Boredom, phone, scroll, dopamine, repeat. Over 6 months of nightly sessions, neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reshape itself, has been working against you. The pathway is carved. The habit is no longer a choice you make. It is the default your brain executes automatically when the store goes quiet, and simultaneously, your amygdala is taking control. Doom scrolling activates the amygdala's fight or flight response, which progressively overrides the prefrontal cortex. The more you scroll, the weaker the rational brain's ability to interrupt the behavior. Even when you know it's wrong, even when you've decided to stop, even when you're watching someone else build something 10 feet away and feeling the quiet weight of what you're missing. You are not choosing this anymore. Your neurology is. 5 hours a night, 5 nights a week. That is 25 hours every week. Over 6 months, that is 600 hours. 600 hours of human life. Of your human life. Of the only version of your 19-year-old brain that will ever exist. The most neuroplastic, most adaptable, most capable of learning version of you that you will ever be again. Handed to an algorithm. Here is what 600 hours can build. You don't need 10,000 hours to change your position. You need enough hours to become competent at one thing the market values. Coding, design, video editing, writing, copywriting, sales. Any one skill with a curve. 600 hours is enough to go from nothing to hireable, or from hireable to sellable. Marcus knew this. You were in the same building, and here's the number that should make your stomach drop. Doom scrollers are 4 times more likely than non-scrollers to miss a deadline, a meeting, or an opportunity. Not twice, 4 times. The algorithm doesn't just consume your present attention. It degrades your capacity to recognize and act on the moments that would have changed your trajectory. You missed Marcus for 6 months. He was right there. You missed the signal because the feed was louder. The average doom scroller loses 3.5 productive hours every single work week to the habit, costing an estimated $5,600 per person per year in lost output. But you are not losing your employer's time. You are losing yours, and nobody is tracking that cost in your name. Nobody will invoice you for it. It will just quietly become the gap between where you are and where you could have been. And it won't feel like loss while it's happening. It will feel like rest. Here's what 6 months becomes in years if nothing changes. In adults aged 18 to 25, excessive screen time causes thinning of the cerebral cortex, the brain's outermost layer responsible for processing memory, attention, and cognitive function. Gray matter reductions have been documented in the left insula, temporal lobe, and hippocampus, areas governing emotional regulation, memory encoding, and decision-making. These are not abstract risks. These are structural changes to the physical organ you use to think, to plan, to become, and gray matter naturally decreases with age. What excessive screen time does is accelerate that process during the exact years your brain should be building, not depleting. Depression risk at 6 or more hours of daily screen time is 45% higher, confirmed by Johns Hopkins research. A Harvard longitudinal study tracking 5,000 participants over 3 years showed progressive mental health decline correlated directly with increased usage. Your eyes are absorbing blue light now, at 19, with more protective melanin than you'll have at 40. The damage you accumulate in these years is damage your older eyes will pay for. Blue light generates reactive oxygen species in retinal cells, leading to photoreceptor destruction and cumulative damage directly implicated in age-related macular degeneration, progressive, irreversible central vision loss. And because you work nights, the stakes are higher than average. The WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies night shift work as probably carcinogenic to humans. The National Toxicology Program found high confidence that persistent circadian disruption, exactly what blue light at night causes, is linked to breast cancer and potentially prostate cancer, especially when begun in early adulthood. Nighttime blue light exposure has been linked to a 60% higher risk of colorectal cancer compared to less exposed populations. You took the overnight shift for the differential. The differential is $1.75 an hour. You refresh Instagram. Someone from high school posted vacation photos from Greece. Someone else bought a house. Another person launched a business. Everyone is doing something. You are watching them do it. That is your position right now. Observer, spectator. The audience at a show you were supposed to be performing in. And the research confirms what you're feeling isn't just discomfort, it's structural. Social media comparison creates dissatisfaction, self-doubt, and over time increases real-life social isolation. The heaviest users, 30 plus hours per week, are 38% more likely to report being lonely. You're watching connection, you're experiencing disconnection. The platform is designed to feel social while producing the neurological signature of isolation. Among people earning under $50,000 a year, 69% are heavy doom scrollers. Among people earning over $150,000, that number drops to 54%. This is not a coincidence. It is a feedback loop. The algorithm is most effective on the people with the least economic mobility, capturing their time, depleting their motivation, and returning nothing while presenting them with an endless stream of the lives they aren't living. You are the target demographic. You were always the target demographic. Marcus wasn't smarter than you. He didn't have a different phone. He wasn't immune to TikTok. He sat under the same fluorescent flicker, in the same building, on the same wage, with the same 5 dead hours. The only variable was what he did when no one was watching. 2 months after he quit, there's an article with his face in it. A startup acquisition, a number that starts with 3 and has 6 digits after it. You stare at the empty store, the mop bucket in the corner, your reflection in the dark window of the door. You were 10 feet away from someone rewriting their life, and you were watching drama between people you'll never meet. Here's the thing about wasted time that nobody tells you. It doesn't feel wasted while it's happening. It feels fine. It feels like rest. Scrolling is easy. It asks nothing. It fills the silence. It makes the hours pass. But passing time and using time are completely different transactions. One costs you nothing in the moment and everything in the long run. The other costs effort now and returns it with interest later. The fluorescent lights will hum tomorrow. The feed will load. The algorithm will serve you exactly what keeps you watching, because the system designed to do that is working perfectly. It was built by people who studied your neurology more carefully than any employer ever will. Your dopamine is already 40 to 60% depleted from tonight. Your melatonin is suppressed. Your cortisol is elevated. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of you capable of choosing differently, is running on chemical debt. But the brain that has been rewired by 6 months of scrolling can be rewired again. Neuroplasticity cuts both ways. Every night you pick up a tutorial instead of a feed, the pathway deepens in a different direction. Every hour you put into something effortful, your dopamine system begins recalibrating, slowly returning reward to the things that actually build a life. It starts with one bookmark, not a transformation, not discipline, not a system, just one different choice on one night when nobody is watching and nothing is forcing your hand. The phone is still in your hand. Instagram is one tap away. It always will be. But so is everything else. You are 19 years old. You have 600 hours to give to something. The only question is what gets them. The gap between who you are and who you could be is not about talent. It is not about opportunity. It is not about who you know or where you started. It is about what you do during the 5 hours when the store is empty and the algorithm is waiting and nobody will ever know the difference. Except you. In 4 years, when the difference is everything.